Top of the morning to you, May 5th. Beautiful day in the basketball neighborhood. What a feeling. The Warriors win in Houston yet again. Pick an iPhone, pick a software update, pick a version of the iPhone. It doesn't matter if it's the 10s, the 20s. The Warriors own the Rockets. And we start out before we dive in to Knicks Celtics with an all-time debrief of a game 7. And did it go according to the script? This was a little more curb your enthusiasm. Play loose within the scene. We know the outcome of the scene is a Warriors W. But what we really need is ultimately some quality in the moment live improv, which is what Buddy Hield was as he ties a game 7. Absolute take a bow record. You got to love the overall team chemistry of a Warriors team, and it needs to be praised and it needs to be spoken on to the highest degree as we sit here on a Monday, now down 8. The teams that are left, at least to me, in the NBA playoffs Western Conference, we are 4 for 4 with the 4 best cultures. Moving on. And you look at the East, you know I work with MSG Network, host a show. This is unequivocally a Knicks team that got past a battle, not tested Pistons team, but pesky and above their pay grade, playing loose or something to that. Culture prevails. Boston, look, you don't think Drew never takes a holiday, misses a couple games. Tatum misses a game too. Yeah, they drop a game, but culture and everything that I doubted Missoula until I had to be proven otherwise last year created. Celtics got past the Magic like a New York cup of coffee in a minute on culture. And if you look at the Pacers and what Carlisle's building as they smack around the Cavs with no Garland in game 1, a very impressive, very deep, playing at the name they are, pace with the Pacers, another culture dub. And you got to shout out the coach of the year, Kenny, who obviously built something special that Bickerstaff clearly could not fully conceptualize. He did a great job in Cleveland. But as we settle in to all thoughts here on game 7 of the Warriors, if you were to sit here and just looking backwards to look ahead, say to yourself, the Rockets and Ime, and I heard Simmons and Russillo talk about this because we watch almost everything, that Ime in the back of his head rent-free. Now you got Rockets fans knowing the Warriors live rent-free in Houston on a California salary. How you feeling on a Monday? Not great. I digress past the queso. But we also remember in the back of Ime's head that he got outsauced and outfoxed and outclassed with a younger version of the Celtics against this very Warriors team. Obviously different club, reshuffled, but you still had Curry, Draymond, and Kerr. The reality is, to get a little, life with it, when people show you who they are, believe them. And we kind of saw on both sides of the coin here what the Rockets have been all season and what the Warriors are capable of being in so many pivotal game 7 spots. And I am in the betting world. And we got plus money, humble plus money, but plus money to the Ocean's 11 bank off a Warriors team off 2 L's. First of all, ask the Knicks. It's hard to pack a team in on a closeout off of 2 straight L's for that team. It's life. You get knocked down, you come back with an ethos, pathos, logos you normally don't have. There's a lot of teams in a lot of sports that operate like that. They got to be maybe a little dragged around, dogged, maybe mocked, maybe, you aren't who we thought you were. And then they get up and they get after it. And, you go in the weeds, like I cover the Knicks for a living from a betting lens, and it is my analysis and my understanding of the biorhythms of this team when they get off to a hot start, when they don't. It is so in the pudding with the stats, but bringing it back to the Warriors. We're talking about grown men versus pups. And yes, Freddie Van is of course the adult in the room, but once Van Fleet stopped his above his pay grade Toronto Raptors run back in the six, almost seems like a whole nother NBA. Kawhi on the Raptors, Marc Gasol, valuable minutes. The six was humming. I digress. Freddie Van, the adult in the playground with the kids, Jalen Green, who, and this is the NBA. It's I speak on this if you're a listener of the show, and I've been batting above 57% against the spread now 4 NFL seasons doing this theory, but it's a hierarchy cafeteria almost always situation. And Draymond Green's a senior on campus, and he's bullying Eason, and he's picking on Thompson, and he's getting under the skin of Jalen. How are nails feeling after a win? I mean, it's all by design. It's all calculated. But we know who Draymond is. You love him for it. And you know, in a game 7, the roles of the stars on the Warriors, even though they were on the road, even though they got a little bit outfoxed in game 5 and 6, to say the least. Game 5, really, they kind of didn't even give it a full puncher's chance. But game 6, closeout game on their floor, I was wrong. I didn't think the Warriors were going to lose that game. You got to credit the Rockets, but also when you get back to base camp and in Vegas, let's just call it what it is. And we're talking betting game 7. Very difficult after 2 Rockets wins to take a step back and say, all right, how do I look at the painting non-emotionally? It's very difficult to look at the painting non-emotionally. After 2 Rockets wins, you're going, the Warriors, they'll probably get it right. It's kind of the thinking of like the Lakers, Timberwolves, a little bit of PTSD there as a diehard Lakers fan growing up in Southern California. Do they want to continue to play basketball? As a moment at commercial, I think it was end of the 3rd, and maybe it was beginning of the 4th, but the Rockets actually won the 3rd quarter, which the Warriors have owned since, when we were watching commercials on TV, that's how long the Warriors have owned the 3rd quarter. And the Rockets, to their credit, came out and they won the 3rd quarter. Warriors won game 4 and the game 7 in the 4th. But there was a moment when Jimmy Butler, who loves ball, screaming at the top of his lungs. One of those, you do it in the mirror if you're past your athletic prime like myself. McLovin. And he does it to Curry, and Curry does it back even more. He hits him with and that's like equivalent to a recess. You jump up, little fist ball, hit a homer. Your boy jumps up with you. Shabbat, boom, shalom. Feeling phenomenal. You're celebrating. That moment is, oh my gosh. Jimmy Buckets loves ball. Steph Curry loves ball. Draymond at the camera doing at the end. These guys love basketball. They live for the game 7s, but when people show you who they are, you got to embrace it. And these guys have shown up and shown out in so many clutch moments. And they're doubted at the very end. And you're sitting back going, not even 50 points from Buckets and Curry combined, they still win the game. You got Curry with a bucket close to a New York Sunday morning bagel by intermission on Broadway. And they're in this game. It's the Warriors' mythology. It's the Warriors' biorhythms. It's the Warriors' I meant to say methodology. It's who they've been forever. They've been point guards, plural, in a shooting guard world. I joked today on Twitter. I tweeted because I walked from my girlfriend's place to my house like an adult on a Monday morning, and I walked like 30, 35 blocks. Didn't stretch the hamstrings. I digress. And I'm sitting there, and I'm always Barry Sanders because it's the last sport I have left in the streets. Little da-da, da-da, moving and shaking. I was teaching a friend, ironically, this weekend who's from out of state. You got to look at the pedestrian New York City like an athlete. Are you going to be starting and stopping and literally have nowhere to go. You're going to have to Le'Veon Bell it out here. But the thing is bringing it back is you're sitting there going, all right, a Warriors team that knows they have to get this win, but maybe early Curry, and this was a Simmons-Russillo point, they were doubling and all over Curry when he didn't even have the ball. So it was anybody but this man. Well, congratulations. You played yourself because you can outfox the Fox in LA and get to the egos of Luka, LeBron, and Redick. Just ask a reporter to ask a full court press. Just ask a reporter to ask a full court press conference question when they're not in the Snickers hangry mood, and you can outfox a group of egos at the table. But if you think you're going to get under the skin or chestnut checkers it against Draymond, Curry, Kerr, and now Jimmy Butler's basketball minds, you're simply out of your gourd. And you watched last night, and they so clearly did not mind. And Curry, by the way, I believe he had like 5 boards 6 times or 5 dimes, 6 boards. He was flirting with an ice cube triple-dub by halftime with a bucket. But it didn't matter because the emphasis, and I say this as I like to think, a humble ball knower, you can get yours whenever you can get yours. Why did Harden never go from Charmeleon to Charizard? Because he didn't understand till he got to the Clippers. It ain't about getting yours. It's about ingratiating everybody else. And back to the point, because I'm all over the board here, of the pedestrian observation, is 9 out of 10 pedestrians in New York are shooting guards. Very, very few point guards in the streets of Manhattan. It's a taker's town. I'm here to work. Money is time. Yada, yada, yada. And so when you're walking in Manhattan, everybody's out for themselves. Now, I'm a point guard. I'm also dribbling with my head up. I was taught this at a very young age, maybe because I'm lefty. The reality is the Warriors are a bunch of shooting guards. Steph Curry gets in the GOAT conversation of the greatest point guard. I mean, come on. The whole team is a group of point guards. Why was Jimmy Buckets seamlessly ingratiated into the Warriors culture at the table, in the cafeteria, which is sports? Because Draymond, because Curry, because Kerr, they have the wherewithal to always play the right basketball. It is the Spurs 2.0. Curry does it again. Draymond was playing like an absolute mensch. He was all over the defensive side, anywhere you needed him, and doing the tiny things you often don't watch unless you're just watching him because they're pups. They're young kids reacting emotionally. That's what you were watching. It was a boxer, maybe passer prime, maybe, I don't know. Sometimes there's artists that pop out a great album late after they're rich, famous, and fed. But the Warriors, they have stuff to prove now. Jimmy Butler is the latest guy in the media that's getting, again, doubted like he wasn't the centerpiece of the Heat culture. So what I'm saying is I'm all in on the Golden State Warriors. It's everybody but the OKC Thunder, if you've been listening to me all year, because they too are an average on the median, rounded out, divide by 5, youngest team to ever, should they get there, and they won't because they need some adults in the room. That's my humble opinion. Sorry, SGA, regular season whistle, long gone. You run into a Warriors, now you got to box against a guy that's fighting you physically and dancing with you mentally. I got a lot of Canadian questions about SGA's true competitiveness in the Western Conference Finals. And at the moment, he got bounced, by the way, by Luka Doncic last year. So we got some wins. And they got to go against the Nuggets. Oh, and you have Russ playing free, playing wild. Just gifting teams that haven't been there before, like a Rockets 2 seed, when you're going against grown men who are champions in this league. It's a tall order. And the win with the Warriors, it was so perfect because It wasn't how you drew it up. Curry does end with, I believe, 22? Didn't get the triple dub. Got going late. But that's also Rockets playing into their noggin. They win the third quarter and still, a couple, 2 or 3 3-pointers in this entire game. Jalen Green now having real life Rockets fans go on walks in Texas with humidity because they don't know what to do, because it's almost inconceivable. This guy who's a shooting guard paid to be here to score can't break double digits more than once in the series. That is what the Warriors do to you. They live rent-free in your Houston noggin. And that's what they're going to do next round to the Minnesota Timberwolves. I got the Golden State Warriors. They might drop game 1 because they got to pack their bags from Houston to Minnesota. They're going to split. They're going to go back, and everyone, again, is going to change their tune. Now, Anthony Edwards is HIM. He's absolutely that guy. He is an alpha. So it's going to be a fascinating case study. But I went and rewatched Draymond getting on his WWE with Gobert. Yeah, Anthony Edwards did nothing to stop that. And if you don't think DG is going to up that ante again and test in the high school cafeteria where Anthony Edwards, Gobert, and these boys are, who's stepping up in the ring and wants to throw hands? Because if you don't think these guys with now Jimmy Butler behind them, by the way, small moment, big payoff. Draymond gets the technical. Jimmy Butler goes right at him. I've never seen Draymond so apologetic in real time. That's now championship basketball you're observing in real time. They're now holding themselves accountable. That's a great relationship. That's a great team. And it's so often overlooked. You just want to get the stars, get the stars, get the stars. You got Luka and the star. They didn't win it. They won a game. They won a game. Why? Because they didn't spend any of their time working on the internal. I'm 11 years into daily meditation, and I need a second one in my life to learn even more how to be present. That's a yada yada. Thanks for growing up with 3 religions and 2 parents in my household. But the reality is, in the moment, in present, game 7, 12 minutes of pop, you got 4 basketball minds. Curry, Draymond, buckets, and Kerr. And I don't see any 4 noggins outfoxing these dudes. If we get Golden State in the finals again, just don't be that shocked. All right, we switch to the Knicks in the Celtics, baby. And I've already eked my Knicks money line. They're getting dang near 6-1, and I absolutely love it. The goal here is simple. Split in Boston. I have to remind you, and I talked this out with my guy, SL, on the Juice Bar. Check it out. The reality is, I'm pulling it up here. Knicks Celtics, in the last time they danced in a real situational spot here, it was an overtime game. And Jason Tatum had to put on an absolute clinic. It was 119-117. And yes, Tatum, Brown, Zingis, White, Holiday, Pritchard all danced. I got to double check on Al Horford and his halfway to Del Boca Vista 4:30 dinner self, but let's call a spade a spade. The main 6 were in, and the Knicks outplayed them in this game. And outside of a Tatum ridiculous Hail Mary, they would have lost this game. Now, here's a couple of takeaways, and I'm not going to do a deep dive. I'm just going to throw it out there and put it on record. I'm on the Knicks to win the series. I do like them to win game 1. Boston always plays with their food on this team. If you watch them, they're actually a terrible cover as a home favorite on the sample size of the season. They're a terrible cover. Why? Because when you are the man, it's tough to stay the man, which is a conversation for another day. How fed are they? Now, Knicks and Celtics haven't danced. Boston, New York, Brady, Giants, Red Sox, Yankees, Bruins, Rangers. There is so many riveting Boston, New York matchups, but Celtics, Knicks, 2 of the top basketball world franchises. It's as good as you could get as a fan. But looking in just off latest numbers, because we all know Boston is going to shoot the lights out of attempts from three. Flat out, point blank. Now, talk this out. It's a real observation. Knicks are going to have a little bit to change, in my humble opinion, a little bit of them. So this is what's interesting about New York. The Knicks are top 10 in three-point percentage. I believe off the dome, they're around 8th. Three-point percentage efficiency, they're top 10. Three-point makes, they're nowhere near that. We know what Boston is. Look at this game when they danced with them in April. 19 for 49 from three. It's almost incomprehensible. But Knicks should have won this game. And here's what's exciting. The Knicks hit 8 less three-pointers in this game. Something that very much could be a theme. The Knicks doubled the points in the paint against this team. What's ironic that I've spoke on that is so prevalent from, thank you, the Pistons, is New York Knicks team last year dripped in dog. Who wants to go against Hartenstein, DiVincenzo, and Randall when you got the roommates, Mitch, Rob, OG? I mean, it was so much absolute tenacity, but last year's team is not this year's. This year's team is way more gifted offensively, way more capable of going toe-to-toe, bucket for bucket with a team like Boston. What is going to be tested that Detroit brought out in them is physical toughness, down the stretch execution. And if there's one thing the whole basketball world saw that I've seen for years, plural now, hosting a show on MSG, working the pregame, is Jalen Brunson is that dude. Captain Clutch. And it is such a wonderful story. And by the way, you go back and look, Brunson, Tatum, these boys have been dancing since high school. You got to love it. But that's going to be a very, very important one or two stats I tell you there for the Knicks to win this series. They're going to not often, if not ever, outshoot Boston from three. But that game, they took 38 attempts above their pay grade from three. They hit 11. So they got 33 of their 117 from three-point land. But doubling in the paint, that's showing you they're imposing their will. And we're looking right at Karl Anthony Towns, who was saved by Captain Clutch not once, but twice in 2 of those 4 Knicks wins. Because we know Jalen Brunson's one of the most underrated. He's like Jalen Hurts in a lot of ways, quarterbacks in the NBA. He's just underrated. He's undervalued. And he's going to continue to be that way. I don't really know what it is. People are bothered by him. This is not SGA, man. This guy is built completely differently. First of all, he's shorter than most of the point guards in the NBA. Doesn't even have close to the athletic build, yet he's equally as skilled, if not more. And his IQ is arguably double than half the dudes he goes against that are, again, gifted in athletic ways. Like, look at SGA's frame. Look at Brunson. But I want a leader on my team. I'm going Brunson 12 out of 10. He's going to bring a championship to New York City. I promise you that. It's in the cards, and it's in the stars. Now, I think it could be this year. But this team, they need more than Brunson. Brunson gets them through the first test in Super Mario because Brunson's the toughest guy mentally on this team. Six ways backside from Sunday. I'm botching that line 5 times in one sentence. But it's just so evident, so clearly evident that Jalen Brunson is a special leader of men. And if you don't think he can lead men any night on any given Pacino Sunday against a team like this Boston Celtics club that, I mean, let's just call it what it is, didn't really dominate Orlando. I mean, they're going to have to ramp it up a notch. Knicks are offensively, but so is Boston. If they just sleepwalk past the Knicks, they're going to get slept like the Pacers took the Cavs. To put that in a bow, I got the Knicks in 6. I wish I was kidding. Knicks go up 3-1. Boston wins game 5. Knicks close it out at the Garden. I'm telling you, I could be sorely mistaken. This is going to be a funky Friday second round. Pacers already up 1-0. I got the Nuggets over the Young Thunder. I absolutely love the Golden State Warriors plus money over the Timberwolves, even if they drop game one. But the recipe for the Knicks: impose your will, do not play scared, play like the Pistons played against you. Lot to carry over with the baton. Play hard, play tough, play to win, and make Boston beat you. Don't beat yourselves like the Rockets in game 7. Don't beat yourselves like the Lakers in game 5. And this is going to be a fascinating series. But Jalen Brunson is one of the most, appreciate him like you would any other LeBron, Curry, for any fan base. And the Knicks fan base and so much of the loyalty from the fan base embodies who the Brunson family is. It's just beautiful to watch as they continue to ink staple moments and pick a borough, any borough. So we're out of here. I appreciate everyone joining me on TikTok Live, Moneyline Monaco. We're out of here having a wonderful time on the program. And yes, we are on Knicks Moneyline, game 1, double Costanza dip with the points. But the Golden State Warriors shock nobody. Nobody! Because they're the best of the biz. We'll see you. Don't forget the Hugging Brothers. Ta-ta, real smooth.